While many Canadians rely on the Canadian Pension Plan and Old Age Security for their retirement income, it's important to note, how do these plans work, how much will you get, and how do you apply for them? So we'll cover all of that in this video. Let's start with eligibility. So for the Canadian Pension Plan, CPP, you can qualify for collection of CPP any time between the age of 60 and 70, and as long as you've made at least one payment into the Canadian Pension Plan. The Canadian Pension Plan is a retirement benefit that is something you pay into while you are working. So as long as you're 60 years old, you can start to take the Canadian Pension Plan, but you can also delay it all the way till 70. I'll cover that off later in this video. Eligibility around the Old Age Security Plan, OAS, is as long as you're age 65, you can start collecting. Now, if you are currently living in Canada, you need to have been in Canada for at least 10 years from age 18 onward to be eligible to collect your old age security. If you're living abroad, you need at least 20 years. So if you're someone looking to retire abroad or you're currently living abroad looking to collect old age security, note that you had to have spent at least 20 years in Canada past your 18th birthday. Again, if you're living in Canada but haven't been here your whole life, you need at least 10 years to be eligible for your old age security payment. Now that you know if you qualify or not for either of these benefits, now the application process. So the application process can be done either online or through a paper application. And I strongly recommend you do the online application. It's much quicker, as the paper application, even though online they say both of them could take up to 120 days, I've seen the paper applications take much longer, and the online applications are known to be processed that much faster. So if you're looking to apply, make sure you apply through your Service Canada website, online, and not through the paper application. Now, as a reminder, your Canadian Pension Plan you can take anytime from 60 onward. So you'd go onto your Service Canada, you'd apply for it, and you will collect payment. Again, typically up to 120 days for approval. So don't expect apply today, collect a paycheck tomorrow type idea. It will take quite a few months. And what I hear from most retirees, it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 months to get that first payment in. So just plan ahead. It doesn't matter if you're starting at between 60 or 70. Whenever you do want to start it, I would apply ahead. And you can note, like if you're going to apply right now in January of 2024, but you want to start it in May, you can put that on the application. So you can apply ahead of time for a future start date. The OAS is much the same. Again, you need to wait to age 65 versus age 60, and it is an online or a paper application. Now, if you've been in Canada for at least 20 years, you should receive a letter from Service Canada a month after your 64th birthday saying, here's what you'll get at 65, here's how OAS works. Do you want to start it, or would you like to start it at a different date other than your 65th birthday? I've heard conflicting reports here as far as, will it start automatically? And most people say yes. If you don't do anything with that, they will automatically start your old age security payment at 65. Meaning you'll get your first payment 1 month after you turn age 65. I've heard from other people that I didn't do anything with the letter and I never received payment. So I would be wary on that once you receive that letter. And if you don't receive the letter on your 64th birthday or shortly after, reach out to Service Canada to learn more about your old age security and let them know when you'd like to start it. It's always good to be a bit more proactive on these things and let them know when you'd like to start it versus then starting it on you and not really having perfect timing there. Now, one horror story I've heard again and again is someone not applying for old age security, but again, it was started automatically on their 65th birthday. They didn't receive any payments because they had a very high income and all of it was clawed back. And they only realized that their old age security payment was started when they got a tax slip at the end of the year. So let's say your birthday, 65th birthday, is in January of 2024. You don't apply, but they automatically started because you just didn't do anything with the letter that you received. But your income's really high, thus you won't actually collect any OAS payments at all. Fast forward a year, January 2025, maybe into February, you get your tax slip for your OAS income. Even though it was all clawed back, you're going to say, here's your income, here's a clawback, there's no taxes due, but you started it and it's been more than 12 months, so you can't cancel it and go back on it. I've heard this happen many times, so just be aware. Be proactive in the application process, both for your CPP, but especially for your old age security. So how much can the Canadian pension plan and old age security actually give you? Is it going to give you enough to, supply all the income needs that you have through retirement? And the answer is probably not, but it can be a nice supplemental income for many of you. Now, the Canadian pension plan and old age security are very different in that CPP, the Canadian pension plan, is something that you pay into over your working years. So it's actually money you've put into the plan. Whereas the old age security is more of a social benefit that is based on years living in Canada. So let's start with the Canadian pension plan. The maximum you can collect in 2024 is $1,365 per month. Now that's obviously the high end of things. The average CPP payment in 2024 is $758, and that's as of October of 2023. So right now you're looking at about just over half, 50% of what the maximum amount is. So what is your CPP payment? You can learn what your payment will be by going to Service Canada website. So if you don't have access to your My Service Canada website, now is a great time to do that. You should have access, doesn't matter what your age is, make sure you get access. That's where you're going to get information around these benefits, CPP, OAS, and other government benefits that you may be receiving or are eligible to receive. The amount of CPP you're going to collect is based on how much you paid in. Have you paid in the max over the full 39 years, or did you miss some years? Did you raise some kids? Were you on CPP disability? There's also 8 years that they will drop out between age 18 and when you apply for it, up to 65. Depending on if you've had non-contributory years or lower payment years, that'll offset the payment. So when you log into your My Service Canada website, it will give you a number, and that's based on if you keep doing what you're doing until 65, here's what your number is. For QPP, for those of you in Quebec, the QPP statement's actually a lot better, saying, look, if you stop working today, here's what you're going to get, and if you keep going till 65, here's what you're going to get. So QPP, CPP works very much the same. The statement for QPP is much better than the CPP payment because the CPP payment doesn't give you, if you stop working today, here's what you're going to get. But there's some great online calculators, and we'll link those below. So work through those calculators. Again, it talks about, if you have years of raising kids under the age of 7. Those years could be dropped out or reduced from your calculation. If you collected CPP disability, those will be dropped off. So there's these factors that come into calculating your CPP that may adjust the payment amount that you see on your Service Canada website. So just be aware of that. For your old age security, the payment, again, is not based on anything you've paid into it. It's just based on how many years you were in Canada. Now, I mentioned earlier, if you're living in Canada or abroad, how many years you need. But let's say you've lived in Canada your whole life. From 18 onward, you're 65, you're looking to collect old age security, you'll collect the maximum amount, which in 2024 right now is $713 a month. Now, if you've only been in Canada for 20 years, you're going to collect half that amount. So it's very easy to calculate how much old age security you should receive based on how many years you were in Canada past your 18th birthday. Now, the maximum benefit at age 75 plus, again, there's a 10% OAS payment bump at age 75, and currently in 2024, the max old age security payment you could collect if you're 75 or older is $785. I won't cover that 10% bump in this video, we'll cover that in a future video, but just do be aware that when you hit 75, you will see a bit of a bump, 10%, on your old age security payments. Another factor around old age security payments is the recovery tax, or OAS clawback as we like to call it. And I won't cover that again in this video. We have other videos, we'll link those below as well. But the old age security recovery tax or clawback, once you hit a certain income threshold, they will start to claw back 15% on every dollar that you make above that amount. So if you're making $90,000, that's going to be about $8,000 above the threshold, and thus will claw back some of your old age security benefit. That's where it comes into timing, and if you should take your old age security, if you're still working, if you have a high income, how does that all play in? Again, looking at government benefits, CPP and OAS, when to take them, how to take them, the taxability of them, it really matters as part of your overall retirement and income plan. 3 other items that are attached to the old age security benefit will be GIS, Guaranteed Income Supplement, and that is for lower income earners. Again, we'll do a future video covering off all of that. We do have a few videos on that as well. We'll link them below. But GIS, Guaranteed Income Supplement, allowance, and your allowance for survivors. So those are 3 additional benefits that you may qualify for if you're a lower income earner as part of the OAS benefit. So make sure you understand what are those thresholds. Do I qualify for them? Will you get them? And again, if you qualify for these benefits, they will come to you naturally as part of the OAS payment. With regards to your CPP payments, there's 2 things you need to be aware of. There's credit, so credit splitting. So if you've gone through a divorce or separation, you may have taken some of your credits or years put into or money put into your CPP payments and split that with your ex-spouse or common law partner. So be aware of that. There could be part of your separation agreement. You may have split some of or given some of your credits to your ex. So your payment would thus be lower. The other thing you can look at if you're still together as a couple would be CPP sharing, meaning that let's say Bob is qualified for $1,000 a month CPP benefit, but Sally is only at $600 a month. They could take that $1,600 a month and split it, basically about $800 each. Now there's more to the calculation than that. It's not that simple. It's based on how many years they were together, when they paid in, and all that kind of stuff. But as you hit retirement, if you're both applying for CPP, you can look at CPP sharing to kind of level out the income tax along the way. Again, I don't see it done a whole lot, and there's not a lot of need for it if you do proper income splitting and planning elsewhere, but it is an option to you. So if you're lopsided on your CPP payments, just be aware that there's something called CPP sharing that you could look into and see what that would look like for you and your partner. So even though CPP and OAS work a little different, CPP you paid into, old age security you earned just being in Canada, both those payments that you collect are taxable. So be aware of that. Both of them are taxable, and often they don't withhold enough tax. So just be aware of how this works. You can request to have more or less tax withheld at source from both your old age security and your CPP payments, but be aware both of them will be added to your taxable income and you will pay tax at your marginal rate. So just be aware. This is not tax-free money in your pocket in retirement. So when's the right time to take your CPP and old age security? And this is probably the hottest topic we have on this channel and many retirement conversations. Again, you can take your Canadian pension plan anywhere from 60 to 70, your old age security anywhere from 65 to 70. Now, if you take your Canadian pension plan earlier than 65, it will be reduced by 0.6% for every month that you take it early. If you delay it past 65, there's a 0.7% increase for every month that you delay it. So a benefit to delay, a penalty to take it early. Much like the same on the old age security, as far as if you delay it, there's a 0.6% benefit to delay it every single month. So if you're going to delay CPP or old age security, there is more of a financial impact to you, a benefit to you, to delay CPP over the old age security. But when's the right time for you? And this is really something you need to work with alongside your financial planner. Run the numbers. CPP at 60, 65, 70, we're somewhere in between. Again, old age security depends if you're working. Do you have OAS clawback? All these things matter, and you have to look at everything else you have, RSPs, TFSAs, pensions, all that kind of stuff. Everything comes together. If you look at your Canadian pension plan and your old age security as silos, you're going to end up paying a lot more tax this area. So make sure that you look at timing around when to take these benefits alongside all your other assets that you've worked hard to build up, and make sure you start drawing it down at the right time, in the right order, and the right amount. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to retirement income. But the benefit is, the difference between retirement income and pre-retirement income is you have a lot more tax planning and strategy and ability to kind of tax plan and pay less tax. So make sure that you're taking those steps to do that. And again, if you need help with that, reach out to our office. More info at parallelwealth.com/planning. You can learn about our financial planning services, what we do, and how we can help you walk into retirement and help you pay less tax.